I'm Andrew Patterson from interest.co.nz. Welcome to another in our Business Success series. With me today, Damian Swaffield, the General Manager at Nextspace. Hi, Damian.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
So, Damian, tell us a bit about Nextspace. You're a business that is obviously on a pretty rapid growth track at the moment, and you operate in the technology space. But just explain a little bit about what you do and why this company has become so successful.
So Nextspace are a 3D visualization company. We operate in a couple of verticals, city, plant and utility. And in each of those verticals we develop integrated solutions that allow businesses to visualize their design, build and operations and hopefully improve their customer experience and reduce their operating costs overall.
So it's about turning the story into a visual experience and doing that with a lot of highly sophisticated technology to really make it look pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. The technology is definitely quite challenging and quite interesting to work with. But yeah, it's about putting a visual metaphor over day-to-day operations for a business, using a visualization to help make business decisions.
One of the recent projects you've been working on is with Auckland Council to try and give people a sense of the city and the space, and I suppose this is a really good example of the way a visual representation can tell the story a lot better than perhaps written or drawings.
Yeah, so that was a commission piece of work to help build a future city model for Auckland Council as a mechanism for engaging stakeholders, wider community, and engendering some feedback. It was also, and has subsequently been used for the City Rail Loop in terms of presenting that as a case to the public, and I think as we go forward will be used as part of the committee hearings and further feedback that will be received on City Rail.
So in this space, is it competitive? How much of this technology is your own IP?
We like to think it's not, but I think the reality is that there are other people out there who would say they do what we do. But we're not a pure visualization company. I suppose our differentiator is that we're an integrator as well. So we realise that information is held in a myriad of different sources, from filing cabinets through GIS systems, through databases, through CAD drawings, and the list goes on. What we pride ourselves on being able to do, and the reality of what we do, is being able to bring those disparate information sources together and from that create a single version of the truth, a single coherent visualization of how a business or a council or a government operate. That's our differentiator, and I think we are unique in that space at the moment.
Plenty of global opportunities. You're working with a large company in South America at the moment, which I guess is another example of how diverse the customer base is that you're actually working with.
Yes, I think our offshore markets are quite large. So we've done a lot of work in Australia, particularly in the plant and utility space, and the opportunity we're working on in South America is a complex plant. It's the manufacturer of a large production, storage and offloading facility that services offshore oil rigs, and as such is a piece of large complex floating plant. I think we're leading. We're partnering with SAP globally and in the Americas on that opportunity, and I think it's a market-leading piece of innovation.
So, who would be the end user? I mean, how does the company or the client get benefit from the work that you do?
Well, as I was mentioning before, there are a myriad of information sources around the design and build and operate of a large complex piece of plant or machinery. What we are doing is bringing that together to provide a singular view and a coherent view of what many subcontractors contribute to build a large piece of plant. A single version of the truth, a point where the customer can verify that what they thought they were buying, they're buying. But also once built, we then provide an operational metaphor for the plant as well. So a ship is a floating piece of plant. It will have many control systems and measurement systems in play. We provide a visual metaphor for interacting with that information going forward. So it will reduce the operating costs through mechanisms such as visibility of information, timeliness of information, and improved training times.
Is the business coming to you, or are you going out and pitching opportunities as well?
It's a little bit of both. We have been very pleased by being referred through some of our international partners, through organisations such as SAP and others, and equally we have created a profile both nationally in Australia, New Zealand, and further afield. Occasionally we get the phone calls, and they're very pleasant to get from a spontaneous opportunity reaching out to us. They've seen something in the media, they've seen something through our website or through referral through other parties, and a conversation starts, and that materialises into a qualified opportunity, then a piece of work in due course.
What sort of costs are we talking about to do a project on the sort of scale that you're normally doing?
I think costs are a little bit hard to talk to, but timing, we're very focused on short time to value. So I think in this world, the idea of a project that lasts 12 months, 24 months or 36 months is long gone. So we're focusing on sort of 3 to 6 month time to value, breaking initiatives down into bite-sized achievable chunks that each in turn create a return on investment. So that will be a typical time frame for an investment.
Explain the nature of the partnership that you've recently secured with SAP, because that obviously must bring some fairly serious grunt to the business as well.
It's a sort of so the heritage of Nextspace was sister company to an organisation called Right Hemisphere. Right Hemisphere was a startup and a software developer in the 3D space, and was acquired by SAP. So we were the solution integrator to the software developer that is Right Hemisphere. SAP purchased Right Hemisphere, what would now be, I think, the year before last, and we've moved into continuing our relationship with Right Hemisphere, but also expanding our relationship with SAP. We've become a reseller of what is now Visual Enterprise software with SAP, and a solution integrator in that space as well. But we're very focused. SAP is a large and successful organisation with over 3,000 products in its portfolio. Visual Enterprise is only one of them, and that's the area we focus on at the moment, and we want to be the market-leading Visual Enterprise partner, and focus on what we do well rather than trying to broaden our space too much.
You have around 17 staff at the moment, and how much growth do you see in your staff numbers? Do you feel like you're just getting started in this space?
It's early days for me. I've only been with the business for 4 or 5 months. We've made 4 or 5 hires during that period, which has been exciting. It's a great team. We've got a great culture, some really, really smart people, frighteningly smart people. And we've managed to attract some very senior and experienced talent to join the team, and that's always nice. It's always nice when we start to get phone calls from people saying, "We hear you're doing some really cool stuff, that you're a great place to work. Have you got any opportunities?" That's nice for us. In terms of growth, I think we'll grow as we need to meet the market. I don't see us being 10 times bigger, but we'd like to be 2, 3, or 4 times bigger, and we won't necessarily be the vehicle that delivers everything that we do, but we will be the holder of the intellectual capital and the advisor that advises other people to how to do what we do.
And the majority of that growth is obviously going to come from offshore.
I think some of our growth will come domestically. Some of our growth will come through Australia, and then because we are a global player, then yes, definitely a fair chunk will come beyond that.
What about securing that talent in New Zealand, or are those calls coming to you mainly from offshore?
In terms of acquiring talent? No, we largely recruit from within the New Zealand marketplace. We will look at whether we recruit offshore as we start to grow. Do we need to have, first will come sales, so do we need to have a sales presence offshore? And then beyond that will become a delivery mechanism. But I think one of the advantages of being part of a business that's based in New Zealand is top talent, great work practices, connected to the global marketplace, even though we are a long way away from it, and the talent here is second to none. And actually, we're actually quite cost effective on a global marketplace.
Continue debate at the moment around sort of IT skills and the capacity to have the availability of people to enter into that career workforce. Is that something that you think New Zealand should be rethinking the way it is preparing people to enter into this world, which is growing fairly rapidly, obviously, at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's always a challenge when new technologies and new ways of working are starting to become evidence in the market. There needs to be a connection back to the universities such that people are trained and made aware of the environment they're going to be working in. There's no point training in a set of skills which have become redundant in the last 4 years. We do quite a bit of work with the universities. We do quite a bit of. It's a source for us in terms of some of our key talent. A lot of them are recent graduates because they've come through. A lot of the 3D work is actually happening at university level and not necessarily out in business. So we're engaging, we're cultivating, and that's a great source. We have even for a small business, we're actually running 1 or 2 interns at any one time out of university. So that's quite unique, I think, for a business of this size. Quite unique for a lot of New Zealand businesses generally. And that keeps us connected to what the latest academic thinking is as well.
Talking about being connected, we're in your offices here in Wynyard Quarter in the Innovation Precinct. A lot of anticipation for what this area is going to do in the future. How important is it for a company like Nextspace to be co-located with others in that technology space?
I think it's really important. We have a lot of similar issues to the organisations we're co-located with. We are all challenged with entering new markets and building businesses. We're all challenged, or typically all challenged, with seeking funding and being an economic business as we grow. We've all got the challenges around talent. We have the same challenges in terms of delivering contracts and services into offshore markets. So there's a lot of commonality, and the ability just to chat to people who are having the same issue as you are on the same day is great. Sometimes there's an opportunity to jointly address a particular market. If we're both in South America at the same time, then why should we both be there at the same time? So we really enjoy it. We enjoy the location as well. It's a nice place to work. Wynyard Quarter's fabulous. The development on the waterfront is great, and I think it's great that I think it's Sateed had the vision to develop this space, and we look forward to being a long-term tenant.
So what are the challenges that a business like Nextspace faces in this particular phase of your evolution right now?
I think, so we're sort of in the second stage of our evolution, and our challenges are being clear about who we are and what our addressable markets are, and what our products and solutions are. So that's probably the first thing, so being very clear about who we are. The second is being able to talk to those markets in a coherent voice, being very clear about what the value of 3D visualization is, because it's inherently something that is easier to see than it is to talk about. The third thing is having convinced somebody that there's value, being able to deliver against that, so a strong ability to execute. So we have a promise that says if we promise to deliver something, we deliver it in a timely manner. We deliver great quality, a great experience, and we deliver not simply a design and a build and a deliver, but an ongoing relationship. So we have to then make sure that we have an ongoing relationship after that that's based around good fundamentals in terms of trust and honesty and integrity and quality of delivery going forward. And all of that as a small organisation, not simply trying to deliver in the 2 square miles around Wynyard Quarter, but trying to do this in New Zealand and all around New Zealand, all around Australia. And bear in mind, a lot of our target markets are mining and utilities, so they tend to be well out of the city centres in Australia and then into the global market. So,
do you think that as the technology moves, this is going to become, costs are going to come down over time, that this is going to be an option that more businesses will be able to look at in the future as part of its ongoing marketing and related efforts?
3D visualization? I think so. I think, to be honest, cost is not the barrier to entry at the moment. It's business application and identifying the genuine benefit to your organisation. But yes, it will become more preeminent. If we think about how we manage our businesses and what we expect within our businesses, the concept of enterprise analytics and dashboarding and real-time business performance being presented 10 years ago was flights of fancy in some respects. People were talking about it, but it wasn't real, or it wasn't real time, and it wasn't achievable in terms of cost. It's now become a lot more mainstream. So I think that will be the case with 3D visualization. If we think about how we prefer to interact in the world we live in, gaming, which is actually probably closer to our business than a lot of other businesses is the domain of the youth at the moment. So there is an expectation around a 3D interaction and experience. Televisions and entertainment and media are moving down a 3D interaction. So why shouldn't that drift into mainstream business? That tends to be the flow. It starts in entertainment or youth, moves to media, and then suddenly appears in business. We think that flow will happen. What the timing will be, I don't know. But the price will sort itself out over time, but the return on investment will be the critical thing. So people are happy to spend $1 or $1 million if they get a return on that investment in a timely manner.
What about managing the innovation space? Because obviously you're in a very fluid technology, changing all the time. How do you keep up with the technology trends that are occurring globally all the time?
I think that the team has a great appetite for finding out what's happening. They have a great amount of knowledge and are some of the thought leaders in the market anyway, and have an appetite to keep a pace with what's going on. For me, I'm new in the role, so it's a massive learning curve for me, and I'm trying to learn the difference between different types of geometries and visualization technologies, and so it's a challenge. But I think for us to be successful, it's got to be part of the DNA of our business that we've got a real appetite to understand what possibly next.
And obviously you will have staff who are very passionate about what they do. These are people who wake up every day and love coming to do something that they have to.
They live in the 3D world. A lot of the people have a side interest in visualization and game development, and so it is the world that they live in. It is something that they find really exciting, and so my challenge is to harness the passion which is evident in the energy and the interest, and just make sure that we deliver against our markets and our customers, because as an innovator, we run the risk of being terribly excited about everything new and interesting and failing to actually target other customers and get a return for our shareholders.
So on that basis, just finally, what will success look like for Nextspace in the future?
I believe that a profiling market is the go-to as a 3D and a visualization business, an integration business, a business that's recognised by organisations with large complex plant and utility-based businesses with large assets under deployment, that we can genuinely add value, improve the experience they deliver to their customers, improve the quality of the product that they deliver, but at the end of the day, improve their margin performance. So that's the sort of the customer-facing side of things. If we're doing that, we're generating a return, and I'm servicing my board and my shareholders in terms of creating the appropriate return. And if we can do that with a motivated, engaged, and enduring team, I think that's the most important thing. We want people to be part of the journey and see where we're trying to get to and be part of that long-term journey. Then I'll be really happy. I think we've hit all of the major points along a timeline and a journey.